Hey guys, this is Ernie here with Orly App. We got Chase here, and we've got some exciting stuff going on. Actually, Chase, as we kick this off, he actually is not in the continental United States. Chase, tell us where you're at, buddy.
I am not. So if you're listening to this and it sounds a little rough on the audio and a little delayed and all that kind of stuff, it's because I am overseas in Israel doing a 10-day tour of Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and all of the high points over here. So it's just going to be a great trip.
That's awesome, brother. I am jealous. I've never been there before. I want to go there. So just take a moment and tell everybody
You got time to get here?
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to make it work in the time and the budget, but you have done that at this moment. Right. So tell us, like, in your family history, like how did this trip come about, and what does this trip mean to you?
Well, so this is actually a trip that my mom and dad had planned and scheduled to go on before he passed away a few years back. They postponed it a few times. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it. So my mom gave me a phone call and said, "Hey, I'd love for you to go on this trip with me." And, 2 years later from probably that first phone call, because we had to postpone it 10 times since then, we're finally sitting over here together. So it's going to be a super, super special trip for us.
Mm-hmm. So I remember a few years ago when your dad passed away. Obviously, it was a very hard time. It was emotional. You had a good dad who loved your family, provided for you guys, and was in every respect a dad who took care of you and loved for you. And so certainly, this trip obviously is an emotional thing as well as a family thing. And it's just, I think it's really awesome that you get to, in light of all that's happened, you get to be there with your mom, support her, be with her for this amazing experience. Obviously, as a Christian, there's tremendous meaning and value to that trip and the places. And obviously the reminder of what Christ has done for us, where he lived, where he accomplished our salvation. So that's an amazing thing for sure. Me as a guy who not only does oils, but also with my company, we do history tours. History in general and traveling means a lot to me. I'm excited. Later on this year, we'll get to have a trip to go to England, Lord willing. Maybe it may end up being early next year. We'll see. But history and traveling is a great thing, because it not only reminds us of those whose shoulders we stand on, and the value of the past and the battles for truth and for freedom that they stood for and that they went through. It helps us understand who we are now, and it gives us clarity for what we should be standing for moving into the future. So as we think about those things and traveling and so forth, obviously, because this is an Orly app, and we want to think about, in all the different experiences of life, and part of that is traveling, how we use our supplements and our oils. Obviously, there's a whole line of emotions and emotional support that we've talked about before on podcasts. Obviously, what you're experiencing and what you've gone through with your dad and your family. There's all kinds of emotional supports for that with supplements and products, which are all very valuable. But in the context of traveling itself, there's actually all kinds of ways that, with Orly app, we want to equip people. Like I said, we have those podcasts before of how to equip yourself to go through emotional experiences and support yourself, and healthy emotions and healthy ways to process emotions with using Young Living products. And also the very functionality of traveling itself is also a way that we can support with products, because we want to take the whole gamut of life. This month's theme is like falling into oils, falling into products, right? Fall seasons, and experiences. Whether it's not just whether it's putting oils in your diffuser for those fall smells that are not toxic, not chemical, but also throughout the year, how you can use these products to support your life and your various experiences. And so, I love to travel. And before I tell a little bit of my story about Kilimanjaro and Troy, obviously there you are in Israel, which is incredible. I'm super jealous, by the way. So, but talk about, Chase, when you come to travel. Like I said, we could go into the whole emotional support, but that would take forever, which is a very valuable thing. But
sure,
when you come to the functions of traveling, like what are some of the things that you do as a guy who wants to bring these natural products into your life to support you, to help you in the challenges that come with traveling?
All right, so I'll be practical with this. I literally, actually, as soon as you started talking about it, I went and grabbed it's my carry-on toiletry bag, I guess if you want to call it, but it's realistically my supplement and oil bag. So I'm sitting here digging everything out of it. And so Amber, my wife, is super good at getting me set up for these trips. Now I could pack this stuff on my own with no problems because I've done it so long and she taught me so well. But like we try to think of everything that we would encompass on this trip. So first off, it took us, let's see, we flew out of New Orleans at 11:45 on Tuesday, and we arrived here at 5:50 or 5 o'clock p.m. Israel time on Wednesday. So a lot of flying, a lot of being stuck in a small tube with a bunch of different people, and so obviously supporting the immune system is a big deal. So my top things that I've got for that are I brought frankincense, I brought thieves. We have a thieves roller, and those are the two main ones that I'm going to use like on the plane. Breathe Again. I have a bottle of Breathe Again here just for you get some funky smells on the airplane. I smelled a few on this one that I wasn't quite falling in love with. So I'm shoving it up my nose while I'm flying. But then I've got these, like 5 or 6 of the Young Living of the Ningxia packets, little Ningxia sachets, the 2-ounce ones, And those are great. All of that's great just for having, like, number one, it's good for like energy and stuff like that, and and Ningxia is actually really good to help with jet lag, and dealing with that kind of stuff, and getting your sleep patterns back on. So, taking that while you're on your trip and when you get back is a big thing. So I got a bunch of those. And then, here's another little trick for you too. I got it's a little like a 3-ounce spray bottle from Target, like a little squirt bottle, pump sprayer thing. And it's full of thieves cleaner. So like I can use that for,
that's a good idea.
Honestly, washing clothes if I need to, and hang them up and let them dry. Cause I don't know that we have laundry here in the hotel. We haven't found that yet. If it does.
Right.
So,
well, and if you run out of hand sanitizer, you can spray your hands. Yeah.
Cause it's already in a pump sprayer. So, and then I've got my Young Living shampoo, the little travel shampoo that comes in the Bon Voyage kit. Which we've given some of those out quite a bit in the past, and they're really, really great. They're little travel kits, and they've got a lot of good stuff in them, but I got the shampoo from that. I've also got some Corsican helichrysum that I brought with me in case I, need it for any specific reason. We just got a bunch of, it's all my normal, usual stuff, but I mean, really keeping your immune system healthy on something like this is the biggest,
and
factor,
for sure, and not overcomplicate it. Like helichrysum, also geranium, right? Like that's a great coagulant.
Yeah.
So if you get a little cut or whatever, right, and you're concerned and you're traveling, you're about, hey, what is third world, or I guess Israel is.
Right.
I'm not sure what Israel is, but what is the first aid like over
modern
here? And I figured it probably was, right.
Yeah.
I don't know all the classifications. People are probably laughing right now, but so what are the or maybe, I mean, even if you're in a first world country, depending on where you're at, what's your access to should you need it, right? So having that where you got like a little like geranium, great coagulant, to help not only cleanse but stop bleeding if you get a little cut or whatever. Another thing that I love that I used on the flight to Kilimanjaro was cedarwood. I had never experienced like my wife has had issues with when she flies at times getting altitude sickness or headaches. Well, that's never
really
been high. Oh yeah, so that's never been high enough for me in flying. I've never been at a high enough altitude where I got those altitude headaches or sickness, but Kilimanjaro was. And man, cedarwood was amazing. So literally, we would just put some in our hands.
It is really impressive.
Rub it on, smell it in our hands. It was almost immediate relief. It was so funny. We had people on that trip, who were not Young Living people, oil users. They weren't opposed to it. They just had never been part of around it, used
Right.
it, whatever. And so we gave some because we were
Right.
all we were at, once you get above 15,000 feet, we were all undergoing the same kind of affliction or issue or whatever, and it was immediate
Right.
relief, right, which was great. So
Yeah, it is impressive. It is impressive how it works, you know.
oh,
So,
for sure. And the thing about that too is you think about whether it's the Ningxia for nausea or rest or strength, whether it's the geranium for or purification for a coagulant or cleaning a little abrasion or a wound or whatever, whether
right.
it is
Right.
cedar wood for the nausea and the headaches. Thing is that you can put so much punch right into a little travel bag that will serve you
That's
across
right.
so many things traveling.
Yep.
And
Yep.
whether it's the hand sanitizer or whatever, or the little bottle of spray is great. And
Yep.
that's the thing is that when you see about how diverse Young Living is and the products that they have across all these different things, in all these different situations of life, I think one of the coolest things is that you feel empowered. You feel like, all right, no matter
That's right.
where I go, no matter what I do, I don't want to be inhibited to go and see God's miraculous creation, to meet amazing people,
Right.
to see what people are doing in various places of the world, to learn about my history, my faith, whatever. And I have the tools that I need,
Right.
regardless of where I go, what I see, what I'm around, that I can take care of
And
myself
I'm not worried if I
quickly.
encounter. Right.
That's right. That's right. Quickly, conveniently. It's a tremendous tool of empowerment. And
Yep.
so, it's for me when
It
I
really
come to
is.
travel, it is. And when I come to travel, I think, all right, don't overcomplicate this. What are the things I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be high altitude, low altitude. I'm going to be potentially needing a little bit of first aid because look, the majority of
Right.
those things that we face are not things that are like traumatic, life altering, surgery
Right.
required things. Obviously, if you need those, you need them. It is what it is. But most of
Right.
the things that we do when we're around are things that we can attend to ourselves if we have the proper tools to
Mhm.
address them. And so I think
Yep.
that's just really important that we, for me, you think through the practical steps of what you're going to be around, where you're going to be, altitude high or low,
Yep.
crowds of people, not crowds
Yep.
of people, and is it going to be a trip or a process that's going to be emotionally triggering? If so, what are the things that I need to do, not just from supplements and oils, but from a mental process to be prepared to set
Right.
myself up for success, so that regardless of what I face,
That's right.
the vast majority of what I go through, I will be able to address and handle myself, and even be able to help other people as well.
That's right.
A funny story. Well, a funny story. One time I was flying, and obviously essential oils has gotten way more mainstream, way more, accepted and that kind of thing. It was really funny. One time I was on a trip. I can't remember where I was flying to, but I think I got out. I think it was Valor. And so I put some Valor on my wrist, and I brought it to my nose and smelled it. And so the flight attendant was walking by, and she stopped me. She was like, smelling or whatever. Like, what is that smell? And so she walks up to the front, and next thing I know, here comes the intercom, right? And she's like, "Hey, we just want to remind our customers that that vaping and e-cigarettes are not allowed during
No
flight."
way, dude.
It
Are you serious?
was so funny. Yes, I am dead serious.
Oh
It was
man,
hilarious. I thought, well, hey, that's a new experience, but
that's awesome.
thankfully, I think, hopefully, right, essential oils have gotten a little bit more mainstream to the point to where people are like, oh, okay, it's probably essential oil, essential oil, whatever. No, it's not. It's not a
Yep.
e-cigarette or somebody trying to vape on an airplane. So, but now, Tracy, I know you've been heavily involved in Young Living and the generous things that they do with the foundation and traveling. So you not only are traveling right now with your mom, taking the place of your dad and being this family trip and supporting her, and as well as experiencing the amazing reality that's Israel and the history that's there, that's tied into our faith. But you're really a seasoned traveler and a veteran who's traveled Nepal and all over the place, really.
That's right. I've been to Nepal 4 times, and then Uganda once.
So
Quite a few
not
times.
only Yeah, for sure. And so not only obviously is there the empowerment of traveling with what you know you need, but that you have traveled so much and you've seen the bigger heart of Young Living. So as we wrap up this podcast,
Hmm.
just talk for a minute. Obviously having the tools that makes you feel strong and empowered to travel is important. But in that context, as we talk
Right.
about traveling, as we wrap up here, talk for a minute about what you've done, what you've been able to do with Young Living to travel, and how that not only have you used their supplements and products to support you as you travel, but how their bigger vision has allowed you to participate and to make a difference on a bigger scale.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of my biggest things with the biggest thing that I noticed and why I continued traveling with the Young Living Foundation was they genuinely do it different. I'm not saying different than everybody, but different than um, what other avenues that I have dealt with or experienced in the past, right? And so we don't just go to these places. Now, obviously, this trip to Israel is not a mission style trip, but the ones to Nepal and Uganda both were, and
Sure,
they weren't.
sure.
It's not like we don't go to just fix it and leave.
Right.
We empower those that are there in the villages to do those things themselves. So while we
Yep.
were in Nepal building houses with these bricks, Gary bought this brick machine to leave there with the full intention to leave there, so that
Mm.
once we left, the Nepali people in those villages knew how to make these bricks from really from anything from natural resources that they had there. They'd use their own sand
Mm.
from their land, mix it with their own mortar that they would buy from a little town that they could get it from,
Mm.
and they could easily
Mm.
make as many bricks as they needed to. And so they
Mm.
can build houses now from from then on without having to rely on somebody else coming in to fix it
Wow.
for them or save it for them or things like that. So, and it was the same thing with Uganda. We're training them to do things on their own without
Mm.
needing someone else to come in.
Mm.
And it's a
Mm.
big difference in a lot of them out there.
Sure. No, that's amazing, and it really fills into the kind of the ideas as we talk about this theme for September, and fall, and falling into your oils. And hey, here's how you replace maybe chemical toxin candles with a diffuser blend. Here's how
Mm-hmm.
you replace these things with a more natural alternative that smells delicious. It smells amazing. It evokes all those memories of smell. In other words, enjoy the seasons of life and be empowered with the tools that you need to enjoy the seasons of life without being,
Right.
having to use chemical toxic things that don't allow you to
Mm-hmm.
control your health. Whether it's whether it's
Mm-hmm.
travel, whether it's Gary taking that theme and idea to how we support villages and communities. Hey, here's a machine and a device. You can make homes with this machine and with the materials that are all around you, right? Right here. You don't need to have to be dependent on somebody
Right.
else. Here's the tools that you need to
Right.
be empowered to, as it were, again with theme, right? Fall into this season, to move into this season of your life, whether it's travel, whether it's building your community, whatever the case may be. And that's why one of the big reasons why I love Young Living is because Gary took that idea, as he developed these natural things that plug into the various things of life that we love: travel, the season of fall, changing of the leaves, the cool of the weather, the smell of pumpkins, family,
Mm-hmm.
togetherness, whatever it is, whatever he did, he,
Mm-hmm.
besides delivering a tool that was natural, was not toxic, was healthy, was good for you, it was always with this
Mm-hmm.
idea behind it that, hey, here's tools that you can use, that you control, that empower you to take responsibility and to step into this place of health and wellness and life and vitality and family and relationship for you and yours. And so I
That's
love
right.
that about what Gary did. He did it, that motif and that theme and that powerful message was in everything that he did. And I just think that is one of the greatest legacies that we are blessed with by Gary Young, is empowerment,
Right.
responsibility, and stepping into ownership to all the experiences and arenas of life that are meaningful and valuable, be it travel, be it family. I'm so thankful to God for that emphasis that he gave to us. So Chase, as we sign off here, give us a closing message from Israel, what you're looking forward to, what you hope to in the next few days.
Well, I generally hope for a life-changing trip, and I think it's going to be one. So this has been something I've really wanted to do. So I'm excited to be over here. I'm excited to do it with my mom, and I will be sure to take lots and lots of pictures and videos and all that kind of stuff so we can share them and add them to our repertoire. I'll use
Awesome,
my big
brother.
word to close it.
That's right. Well, we look forward to some All the App Facebook Lives from the land of Israel. Right, we got some stuff over there in the Middle East with Young Living, and so that's a place rich with history, faith, and with today farms and supplies for the products that we know and we love and we value and we use every single day. So on behalf of myself, Chase, and the All the App team, God bless y'all. Thank you for tuning in. And we look forward to hearing your feedback. Hope you enjoyed this podcast and you sharing with us what you use, what supplements, what oils you use to support you as you travel, as you fall into fall, and the relationships and times and seasons of life that this time of the year brings. So on behalf of the All the App team, God bless. And we have enjoyed our time, and we'll talk to you soon. See you guys.